just in regards to writing and the rating board for games. But it's also just remember not just the writing. There's a lot of other things that go in there. So for instance, like in Left 4 Dead 1, we moved the smoker from grabbing you around the neck to around the chest, and that helped not get that ding. So what used to happen, this is like less important now, kind of people don't care about this as much as they used to. You used to get a bunch of what they would call badges. Like it'd be like you have alcohol, you have profanity, you have this, right? And then you have the F word, which is, extreme profanity. I don't know, whatever they called it. In Left 4 Dead 1, we lost my favorite joke because we had no mention of booze anywhere in there. And Francis, as he walks into the airport in Dead Air, had a line that said, "This is the most sober I've ever been in an airport," which is a good line, funny. I once said that at a gun range, which was true because I grew up drinking and shooting guns, and then I went to a gun range. It was serious, and I said to the gun range guy, "I'm like, this is the most sober I've ever shot a gun," and he lost his mind. But so it's a good. So I turned that original phrase that I used into something else for Francis. It was a good phrase, but we cut it because we didn't have any badge for the booze. And so then the other thing is, it's not the amount of languages you use, but it used to be, and especially I think the ESRB really had it out for Valve, so we would get just torn apart. In the trailer for Left 4 Dead 2, where Coach punches a zombie, that was too much. Somehow chainsawing zombies, okay. Punching a zombie, too much. I don't know how that trailer got out into the wild though, but so there's like a lot of shenanigans like that. But then we also had this thing where the lawyers, right? The lawyers keep you honest always, because it's like the writers in the ESRB were like, but the lawyers are like, hey, you, and so the lawyers went to us and they were like, hey, you can't actually add new profanity, new words after the original game. So in Left 4 Dead 1, we couldn't add new swear words that weren't in the original game in additional DLC. So as we're recording Left 4 Dead 2, we're like, well, shit, we should make a list of words we may want to use in the future. We don't know. And so we just made a bunch of words. So we just put a bunch of words down, like dick, tits, shit, whatever. I don't know. And then we're like, well, we should probably record this. We just gave him the Nick, you Dylan to read, and then put him in the game. So if you ever wonder why Nick occasionally just has random swearing, it's because we just recorded it all because we wanted to make sure those words were in the game in case you wanted to use them later. Like, that's the weird thing, right? But again, that's the lawyers. Will the ESRB catch that? Who knows? But our lawyers. And the lawyers also, just in the writing of the characters and how they talk to each other, got on me of how originally a Coach and Rochelle talked to each other. How I grew up in Cleveland. I went to Cleveland State. I dated diverse people. And they're like, oh my God, that's racist. I'm like, no, that's just how people talk. Like, you can bring that there, and they were very weird about that. And that's another thing, like when the lawyers get involved in that. I think those lawyers are gone now. But there's other lawyers there. I actually like the lawyers for Valve. But it was like this constant thing of back and forth with them. And it wasn't just about simple profanity, but a whole bunch of other things around it. And as somebody who was involved in more than just the writing, we would often think of these things. And for Portal 2 in particular, I forgot what we were talking about. Portal 2 in particular, that game doesn't need the profanity, right? It doesn't need bodies. It doesn't need profanity. It was already like teen rating, so why not just keep it clean and do it that way? And so that was deliberate on our part, right? Because again, at Valve, everyone's kind of got an input into it. And so we were being deliberate there for sure of just not adding a bunch of profanity. Because it would have been weird also for the AI to swear, because in our minds, AI was controlled by corporate people and lawyers. We know what AI is controlled with by now, but so yeah, we think about it, but not.